Lobster Productions.
But my husband...
Oh.
We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some Nephilim shit.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit. What happened to the home of the brave? These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and won't awaken to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is Top Lobster, the father of it. Don't do it's very jarring when you know what? From now on, because we never talk about this, when I'm introducing you, don't make any noise because it's
I'm going to say what I got to say. David, introduce the guest.
All you ever do is you say hi, but I stumble because I go, what did he say? And then it's nothing important. Anyway, guys, before we get into today's guest, I just want to remind you that a great way to support the show, we're not going behind the paywall at the half an hour mark at the request of the guest. And so we're gonna listen to them, and we're gonna give you guys free content, even though you don't deserve it, even though you're disgusting, even though you're poor. But if you want to support us, patreon.com/Nephilim. I said I wasn't gonna say that anymore, huh? /Nephilim Death Squad. Great way to support the show. Consider doing it and enjoy the free content, you slobs. Let's get into can you pull this off the screen? Let's get into today's guests. Joining us today are Matthew and Christine. We have a really wild story to tell today. And I don't know how exactly we're going to get into it, but let's just start first by telling everybody who's listening, all of the slobs, where they can find the important information that we're going to be talking about today. Matt, do you want to start, and then we'll go to Christine?
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody who's watching wants to follow along and really get some visuals, go to GilbertiBlueGold.com. That's Joe's personal website, just promoting what we're going to be talking about today. And if you really want to get some of the dirt stuff, Joe's posted himself really going after politicians, going into town hall meetings, going out in town and trying to tell people about what we're about to get into. His Instagram's Joe Gilberti 2024, and me finding his Instagram page is what a year ago is what set all of this in motion.
Okay, so I like where this is going, but I don't like the Florida aspect of it. I see we're talking about Naples over here, and apparently we're in big trouble. So can we just get into this and tell me if I have to leave right now? So should I start packing?
Oh, no. It's not to that extent. If anything, you're probably in one of the best places unless the world actually does flood. I know you're familiar with Dr. Narcolongo's work on Florida being the original Fertile Crescent, or the Garden of Eden, whatever label you want to put on it, having the most springs in the world. Well, the spring we're going to be talking about today is probably one of the most important. And I'll just put it out there because the words came to my mind the moment I found this story. It's the...
Okay, now that's very interesting. Before we go any further, I'd like to introduce Christine. And Christine, if you could, for the audience, can you give us a 1,000-foot overview of who you are and what we're going to be discussing today?
Hi, thanks for having me on. I'm Christine Gilberti. My husband is Joseph Gilberti, and he found... I hear an echo.
Do you hear an echo?
Yes.
Keep going. Try not to get distracted by it. Top's going to do some. He's our audio engineer. He's got his expert techniques that he's going to deploy, and he's going to try to alleviate that for you.
But my husband basically discovered a unique underground water resource, and basically since he's discovered it, our whole family's been attacked. So he's in jail currently, and he's been in jail almost 17 months. And he's awaiting sentencing, which is coming up on the 14th of August.
What are they charging him with?
They have him charged for lien fraud, and basically they found him guilty by a set-up jury, and he's been awaiting, and we have people working with us right now to help get him out because they're trying to establish that it was a corrupt, and they're subduing him so they can get away with the transfer of our property.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's start from the beginning then. What exactly happens? I mean, let's talk about the discovery of, I guess, for lack of a better term, these waters. Where did this happen, and how did he come upon this?
He was hired by a group, a development group, to do a mining permit. And I'm trying to not hear my echo.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
We can't hear an echo, but
well, I know
it's
got to be awfully distracting when you're trying to talk and you're hearing yourself echoed.
Double time.
Maybe what we should do then is try it without the headphones. I don't know why the parameters would have switched.
Okay.
Top, what do you think about that? Should we do that before we go ahead?
That's fine with me. It's up to you guys.
Oh,
I can try to keep going.
Let's give it 1 second here. StreamYard has put all the parameters on us, and now Top's mic is also.
That's
okay,
pretty good.
Go.
Okay, are we better?
Yeah.
I think that sounds good. How do I sound?
Everything sounds great.
Okay. All right, great. Sorry about that, guys. It's just
it's
you know, the troubles of live. So he was contracted by whom to do what?
There was a development group called Eagle Feather, and they my husband to pull a mining permit, and basically after 30 days got that permit, and they didn't pay him, and that's what started the whole thing. He had to lien the property, and I'm hearing the echo again.
So strange.
It's so weird. It's
Hold on a second. I don't know what would have happened there. We had it for a second, and then all of a sudden it decided to start acting up again. Top, there's a second slot for her. Should we remove that? It's like she's in the room twice.
Yeah, if she refreshed her feed at the top
Okay.
left of your screen, there's like a little circle with an arrow. Press that. Okay. We're having a lot of technical issues, but we'll figure it out.
We might have to just deal with the slight echo in the background from her laptop.
Well, maybe, yeah, that might be. Okay, she's back in now.
We'll try it again. Go ahead, Christine.
okay. There's still a double window of me.
Yeah, that's odd. I'm going to kick one from the studio.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's kick this one. Okay, that one is gone now.
Go ahead
and has that alleviated any of the audio issues for you?
Let me see. Yeah, I mean, can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound so
clear.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
All right, let's get into it.
So anyway, my husband was hired by a group called Eagle Feather, and he was to pull a mining permit out in Sarasota. This property is just close to Myaca State Park, and he basically pulled the permit and got it within 30 days, and they didn't pay him. So he threatened to lien the property to get his payment, and they established a relationship and said, oh, we want you to do more for us. We want you to develop a fly-in community and do all this other engineering work, and we'll get on board and we'll sign a contract. And so that's what happened. And my husband designed this fly-in community, did all this other work. And again, they didn't pay him. So he threatened to lien it, and he decided this time he's going to meet the owner of the property, the farmer. And we established a relationship with one of the neighbors, another farmer, and he arranged for a meeting. And my husband met with the farmer, and the farmer said his name's Buck Daughtry. He said he didn't understand why they're not paying you. You've done all the work. You've basically over exceeded what they asked you for. And
is this a large reputable company?
No, it was like a group of
Christine, real quick, let me interrupt. What you called it, a predatory?
That's what they got into after they hired my husband. They tried to get Buck but they basically approached Buck. It was a bunch of like realtors, doctors, and they developed a group and like a company, and they went on the farmer's property, and they basically tried to lure him in by saying, oh, we could develop just little parts of your property and make you millions of dollars. And of course, that sounds great to a farmer who doesn't really work. You know, he just rents out some of his land and stuff. So they got him into this. And my husband basically told them, I'm going to lien you. And it got really nasty. The farmer agreed, absolutely lien my property. You did all the work, and I don't understand why they're not paying you. So he liened the property, and he got a call from someone. And he said, oh, aren't you just the guardian angel out there? Like, you better get rid of that lien boy, and hung up. And found out later it was a judge that was basically trying to put my husband on notice, like, don't you dare and get involved with this project.
So Christine skipped this a little bit. I've heard Christine tell me this story a few times, and I know being on camera and live in front of people makes her nervous. It was a group consisting of lawyers, doctors, judges, real estate investors, basically the good old boys, guys who all hang out with each other in the same clubs. Okay, so we already know, just off that small amount of information, we're fighting a pretty big battle here against a whole group of connected people.
Right, well established.
Go ahead, Christine.
So he put a lien on the property. They basically ended up bonding the lien out. My husband got payment, and that's when my husband and the farmer developed a relationship, and my husband helped him pay back this. But in that, we decided to open up a permit for one of the water wells on his property so that he could generate funds for growing sod and watermelon and all sorts of stuff. And this well that he went to a Smith-Mundt meeting to open up the permit. And at that meeting, there was attorneys sitting in the meeting, which wasn't normal. My husband pulls permits all the time. And he thought it was odd, but went on with the meeting. And one of the gentlemen was like dripping sweat, very nervous. And it triggered something in my husband to think something isn't right. But he activated the permit. He got it. He went home that night and decided, I need to call the farmer and see what's going on with this. Why was that guy sweating? And he thought in the back of his mind it could be over the water. So he called Buck in the middle of the night, and he said, how deep is that well on your property? And Buck said, oh, it's 1,509 feet deep. And my husband's...
I don't know much about wells. Is that
that's deep.
A normal well is 100 to 500 feet, depending
it's
where you're
actually at. Up to 300 is on the norm, but more
and
than
was
that.
How much? 1,500?
Yeah, mine's is like
1,509.
So that's like inner Earth shit.
Yeah,
that's what we're saying.
Exactly.
Christine, do me a favor, toss that pen.
Yeah. Our we have people in the chat.
Yeah, everyone in the chat's going
sad.
crazy and they're screaming right now. I'm
They're
sorry.
terrible people though, which
Keep
is
clicking
fine.
it. We
They're
don't like
awful.
them.
They deserve every
Actually,
little
grab
I'm
a
not
pen.
used to
noise
having
you're listening to.
headphones. Okay.
Go ahead, keep going. Just don't click the pen.
So 1,500 feet is
1,500 feet.
that's
deep, man.
considerably deep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they I'll say it real quick. They put a camera feed down to see how far it was.
Mhm.
All right. And when they got to the bottom, they were like, shit, that there's a whole ocean under there.
Yeah.
And now
It's
this is in
massive.
Sarasota, Florida, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Because in Florida,
And-
I'm sorry,
It's okay.
they won't even let you do a basement because they say that we're like on we're not even on bedrock. Basically, it's just sand. So that's kind of anomalous to find something that deep here.
You're not on sand. You're on an ocean. We all are. We'll
Well,
get into that.
I
Okay.
know we're going to get into it, but already that is resonating with me just due to the fact that Florida supposedly has more natural springs than any place on the planet.
Yeah.
Right. So where is all of this water coming up out of the earth from? That's, all right. Well, let's continue, please, Christine.
Okay, so we enlisted a gentleman from West Palm Beach. His name is Jim Murray, and he does aquifer maintenance testing on, all of the South Florida side of the state. And my husband emailed him and asked for his services, and the gentleman told us that he was reading my husband's email and watching it being deleted from the screen as quick as he could read it.
Whoa.
And he knew something major was going on. But anyway, he came with the big rig to the property, and we did a down the whole camera video. And it was like an all-day event. But this camera went down and showed, how much massive water was down there. And it also showed the lightness of the water. So the deeper we went, the lighter the water was.
Meaning in clarity?
Significance of the weight of the water. So
fascinating.
he was saying once you pump some of the heavier water off, you're tapping into even more
Naturally hydrated water.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So quick question. What, I imagine then they whisked that footage off somewhere.
Yeah, they actually gave us 2 copies of the CDs. They burned them into like a video, and the Jim Murray didn't even want to keep a copy of it. He said, this is all yours. And he basically told us our life is going to change after this. And my husband, immediately after that, we got, the water tested, and we actually got the water tested before we enlisted Jim Murray. And that's what made him come out there. He said that he had never seen water with that pH and calcium and magnesium in over 40 years of him doing what he does. He's never seen water that pure.
It's also free of.
Yeah, there's no or anything detected. It's 7.9, and then just calcium and magnesium. So anyway, my husband contacted the government agencies wanting them to come out and do their diligence because he thought this could be a better drinking source for everyone. And he felt it was his ethical duty as an engineer to basically bring this to the people.
That's a mistake right there. Yep.
This was in 2000. Well, when we had it tested, it was 2012.
Okay.
So
that's a shame, because had any of this happened post 2020, he probably would have thought differently about that.
Yeah, well, we've been through so much, and as soon as we started contacting the government agencies, they started basically my husband and trying to get him to walk away from this. And he basically was offered by a group. I don't know if you've heard of Mosaic in Florida.
No.
So they are like a big fertilizer company, and they do a lot of the digging in Florida and generate phosphate.
I've got them right here. Mosaic Company, potash mining. This is in
yes.
What the heck is this? Parish, Florida.
But they're all over, and they basically made an offer of $500 million to, for us to walk away.
To walk away. Wait. So walk away from the property?
Walk away from the water, everything. Like, we don't know about it type of thing.
Well, wow.
Whoa. And you said no, huh?
Well, I didn't. My husband did. Yes, my husband said no. The farmers said no. They said it's the people's water. I wasn't involved. So, but they decided, let's keep going. Let's try to get this water to the people. So my husband started to design an actual pipeline from our property to all the municipalities heading south to Miami. And he actually created all the plans, did everything, presented it, put in permits, and basically now we're at the point where they are in like a transfer of our property and him, and they are just trying to establish that we're not owners and they are, and it's not happening. We have the mineral, and my husband is going to get this to the people. So he didn't do all this for nothing.
How did they jail him? I don't really understand.
Okay, real quick before she even gets into this is where it gets crazy. Okay, he's been jailed multiple times, and his story, and we'll get into it, connects to other major events that have happened throughout the past 10 years. One in Florida and one in Boston. Thank you, Smith-Mundt Act. Christine's going to get into this, and I'll just throw it out there. We're going to get involved with the Boston and Mary Stone Douglas.
Okay, yeah, so you're just trying to get us. You're just trying to get us. Then
this is why I podcast with a gun. So
do you really have it with you?
I've been on the internet for the past year now screaming at my man about this story, and no one's come knocking on my door. I have had a few weird Instagram interactions, but other than that, nothing.
Do you still, so I imagine by right now, and we'll get into all of this, I'd like to understand how this process goes for your husband and things, but you don't have access to this property anymore.
Yes. Oh, we do. Believe it or not, it's protected because my husband, his father who passed away, basically came up with an idea of surveying the property and protecting it with the homestead. And that's basically what we did. So the farmer's homestead incorporates the well, and our 2 parcels of land that the farmer deeded to us also has access to the well. So they have basically done a transfer and basically taken our parcels of land, but they don't have the mineral and they don't have the farmer's access because he was awarded, that in his discharge of his bankruptcy.
Okay. So how does this series of events start taking place? You're saying that your husband has been jailed multiple times. When does this when does it change from a legal battle? You're trying to get to do X, Y, and Z, and then and the permits, and then suddenly something out of the norm happens. What's that first occurrence like, and how far into this do you know that it's related to what's happening?
Back when we were figuring out the water, and we realized they were attacking the farmer, we hired a group that was going to handle the farmer's foreclosure. And this group was 3 attorneys, and Greenberg Traurig was the name. We found out later that the chief counsel of Greenberg Traurig was also head chief counsel of Mosaic, which is interesting how it all ties together. But these men that we hired, they weren't trying to help the farmer. They were actually trying to help the farmer lose his property. So we fired them, and they put charges on my husband. And my husband sent out a DEP email, a mass email, about Governor Scott jogging in a fundraiser and saying, here is our governor, and he's basically doing this fundraiser, but he won't come and test this water that could help so many people, blah, blah, blah. And this email went out, and like 6 hours later, the Boston happened, and my husband was tortured and treated like a terrorist, as if, you know, he had something to do with it. So that was in Tampa where they took him, and he was in jail for like 3 months being tortured, no clothes. We didn't even know what was going on. We kept appearing in court, and they weren't bringing him into court. And my kids were sick every day. They didn't know what happened to their dad. And we basically had U.S. Marshals and Secret Service come into our house and, you know, ransack our house and go through it, probably looking for the down the hole camera videos. And my husband basically, after I knew he was being tortured, I contacted the jail numerous times, and no one would give me straight information. I asked the judge why he's not being brought into court, and the judge demanded that the state prosecutor make sure that he's brought to court the next time. And she said, oh, I have all these charges to put on him. And she just kept walking in the courtroom with stacks and stacks of folders with supposed charges she was going to put on him. And
what could they have possibly made stacks and stacks of folders about? I mean, what is it? What was the last thing that your husband was even engaging in that would have been?
The charges that he supposedly got arrested for was mass emailing without a purpose.
That's are you kidding me? There are countless men in India who should be under the prison right now for that very same offense. What are we talking about here?
Yeah,
I
had no idea that
the
you could even...
3 attorneys that we hired. They all put charges on my husband, and basically because we fired them and they were caught, and my husband's and everything in jail all lines up with I uncovered that. I contacted a group out of Miami called Armor, and Armor was the go-between between Falkenberg jail, where they were holding my husband, and Miami. And I know I'm skipping around.
No, that's fine. I mean, we can pull it back. I don't want to, rush through the story. And Matt's also here to guide us on this point. But it's can I ask you about the stories that your husband tells? He's jailed for 3 months, but he's not been charged, correct?
They had threatening email charge, the attorneys, because
threatening email.
Yeah. So that's what his charges were, which ended up later being null processed. But
what does this fall under, like terrorism or something like that? I mean,
I feel like it was an email of him basically calling out the governor and pointing out how weak he was being. They took that as threats because he's basically talking shit about the governor.
Right.
You're not allowed to do that. You can't make the governor look bad. He was obviously at a fundraiser because he's got a public appearance to make, you know, and the public image he's got to uphold. He's not actually there donating a lot of money to the fundraiser.
It's crazy. I feel like I don't know the whole story, but I just feel like your husband is just like wrong time. Because if he was doing it now, they're dealing with so much shit. They probably would have just been like, it's another guy killing us.
No, Governor DeSantis just today opened up another reservoir. I don't know if you saw that, Matthew.
No,
but
I did not.
He was in Marco Island today, basically opening up a new reservoir that they're going to do that's going to help the Everglades and supposedly better drinking water to all of South Florida.
That's interesting because I was living previously in Port Richey, and it would always confuse me because it was my understanding Florida, more natural springs per capita than any other place on earth. Our water was terrible, absolutely terrible water.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's bizarre that it would be like that. I figured you would at least have some, because I came from New Jersey, where also the tap is terrible.
Sorry.
So what is this? Governor DeSantis signs a new reservoir agreement with
the Army
US Corps.
Army.
Yep.
What do they have to do with that? That's fascinating. What does the Army have to do with a new reservoir for drinking water?
I have a feeling that we're about to find out. But continue the story.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I was looking in the chat, so I missed it for a second, reading everyone's stupid comments. Did you get, so Christine, she calls the jail and they're not allowing her to talk to her husband. She finally gets a hold of a nurse, and the nurse goes out of her way to basically like say, hey, what the fuck's going on with this person that I don't know is even on my list that you're saying supposed to be on the list. And Christine, go ahead with that part.
Yeah.
Because that's crazy.
I was calling the jail. They were telling me my husband's suicidal and that he's on a suicide watch and he's in the maximum security. And they were basically telling me like I don't know my own husband. Mm-hmm. And I knew they were him. I just could tell because they weren't bringing him to court. And I thought that was really odd that he missed 3 court appearances. So that's when I contacted Armor, and the girl at Armor, her name was Marta. She was in risk management, and she said, how long has your husband been there? And I said, it's going on 3 months. And she said, so you're telling me that your husband has been there and you haven't heard from him? And I said, yes. And she said, who is his doctor? And I said, his doctor is Dr. Weaver. And that's who I've been in contact with. And this doctor's trying to get him committed into an insane hospital. And she goes, Dr. Weaver, that's interesting. I see her twice a week. And she has never once mentioned your husband. And something strange is going on. Do I have your permission to call down there? And I said, absolutely. And I'm afraid for my husband. And so she hung up with me. She called over there, and within 4 hours, my husband contacted me.
Wow.
And he said, I don't know what you did, but you rattled chains. Oh my God. They had me with no clothes and hosing me, freezing me. I mean, he sounded horrible. And he said, whatever you did, they're pulling me out of like the worst cell, and they're actually in there painting it right now. And he's like, oh my God, thank you. You know, and
painting it to try to hide potential evidence of what he went through.
Yes. Yeah. Because they knew they were going to get investigated. And I know they were, because I think Falkenberg Services severed ties with Armor right after this. So this was a big deal I uncovered, and I didn't know it. I was just,
trying to help your husband.
Trying to help my husband and trying to keep my family together. And I uncovered a big can of worms, apparently. But then he was brought into court after that. So I did get to see him for the first time, and he looked like a grizzly bear and was like 30 pounds lighter. And just, it was gut wrenching. And they had told my husband that his family wanted nothing to do with him and that we have moved on. And they initially told my husband, like within the first week of him being there, that his kids in a bus accident.
What?
So they tried to like mentally break him so many times. And it's just disgusting. And I don't know like where he's at now. They just moved him. I didn't tell you this, Matthew, but he has been in like the basement of this jail in Sarasota, pitch, like it's dark, just fluorescent lighting.
I believe that, Christine. Fellas, I'm gonna let you in on something. Christine also sent me a Zoom link for one of his court hearings. He was 20 minutes late to. Didn't even know he was supposed to be there. This man's hair was a goddamn mess. He looked rough. They are not treating him nicely in there. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he's sitting in the basement.
So they're treating him. They're not treating him nicely because he sent a lot of emails.
Yeah.
At this point, yes.
Currently, they're not treating him nicely either, and that's basically because he called out that they're in a transfer and the county is involved, and you know he's exposing it all, and they're trying to keep it hidden by subduing him.
Not to mention, if you go to the website, you can see the amount of lawsuits he's tried to take upon absolutely everyone you've ever hated in, you know, the theater of things. Sorry, I had to do that, fellas.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I want to rewind a little bit, and I know, you know, I'm not expecting you to have concrete answers, but what do you suspect is the sequence of events and the significance of those events when you talk about, you know, immediately preceding this Boston takes place? How have you connected to the two of them, or have you, or maybe you haven't?
Okay, well, he had sent out a DEP, Department of Environmental Protection email.
Okay.
And that was what triggered the Boston. He also sent out
Wait,
state.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Say that again.
He sent out a Department of Environmental Protection email, like mass email. It was with Governor Scott, and the banner Governor Scott was holding was, I believe, a Department of Environmental Protection banner.
And Governor Scott was
the governor of Florida at the time.
But he was holding this banner at the
he was in the picture. I'm not sure if he was holding the banner, but it was a function for the Department of Environmental Protection and a bunch of like cops and amputees and stuff like that. And it was a big fundraiser. And my husband jumped on that and said, you know, when you're doing this type of stuff, why don't you come out and test this water? My husband's calling right now.
No way.
Yeah.
You should probably take that. You want to take that and let Matt? Yeah. Here, let's mute her mic and we'll let
you. Yeah.
If y'all can get him on and ask him about the Boston, he'd probably be able to explain it a little bit better.
Christina, just so you know, you're muted right now.
Okay. Sarasota County Jail.
Oh my
Let's
God.
mute that. That's crazy. Oh my God.
I have yet to talk to Joe.
Well, let's let him be muted. If Christina, just signal to us if you want to, wave to us if you want to come back on the, you know, with the audio. So Matt, she's talking about how now I could be misconstruing here, but is he the governor?
I'm sorry. It's such a serious topic, and you're misconstruing it, David.
I'm misconstruing a lot of things. And like I said, Christina, if you want to come back on audio, just give us a wave like this, okay? So is she saying that the governor is you know, they're doing this banner, they're doing this fundraiser? Is he at Boston when this is happening? Is that what I'm understanding?
I believe so. Yeah, that's the way she kind of explained it to me before.
Okay, so in other words,
he's at the marathon or something like that.
It was like a huge synchronicity type deal. I don't know. See, I can't tell you, but this is just from what I've heard and through some of Joe's videos. He explains it on Instagram. If you guys can come across those, If we can get him on the phone and he can explain
Did
it
I make
too.
up a word?
I will be honest. This is
okay.
one of the
Okay,
parts of
Christina
the
wants to
story.
come back on the.
Are you back
Get her on. I'll shut up.
I don't know how. Can you hear him?
Let's check it out. Gil, can you hear us?
You'd have to put you have to put your headphone in the bottom of the phone there or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Can you hear them?
Hey, can you hear us?
Can you hear him?
A little bit. We can hear you a little bit. How are you? Pleasure to meet you, I suppose.
Pretty good. Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, this is Raven. Raven. This is David. I'm the host of a show, Nephilim Death Squad. It's my co-host Top. Top, say hi.
How you doing?
And we're talking about your story. I know your time is precious. I don't know if there's anything you'd want to say while we have you here.
Yeah, if you can hear me, and Chris, tell me if they can't, because maybe we got to recruit it. I'm a professional engineer for 30 years, went to University of Florida. I got hired to do a mining permit for $200,000 way out of this ranch.
Oh, hold on. Give it one
Getting
second.
the dog out of the room because he was right behind the.
Yeah, I heard the dog.
growling.
The dog was barking. We have to wait for Christine to get back into the proximity of her microphone for her laptop. Okay, that's probably a good place to hold it, Christine. Go ahead. We can hear you.
No, we can't hear anything.
They can hear you.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to just talk because it's hard to hear them. I'm going to explain something. There was a well dug in 1969 that hit a lower river that we was just hearsay. We was thinking about water supply way out in the woods where down this old abandoned railroad is a Ford County pump station pouring off the polluted river. Tapped out a treatment space. So when I finally met the farmer, he was being rolled in a hard money loan. He never had a job, and they had an invalid mortgage. So I've learned from developers, and we kind of held him up while I was trying to pump spring water to the system, and I didn't really know what I had. As soon as I put the plans out, they arrested me for cyber stalking with the biggest attorneys in the world to be fired as victims, Greenberg Torg, who represents Mosaic Fertilizer, Israel Chemical Ltd. They're like phosphate production with 22,000 acres next door. I said, you guys are in conflict. I have a mining permit with phosphate and a deep Florida well, the two essentials for a fertilizer plant. You got to go. So they were trying to offer hundreds of millions with Nestle and a few others tied to BlackRock. And I said, I can't take the money. The water's free. What if these things are everywhere? You know, I just can't do it. Why don't we just all get together and hook this thing up and get spring water and make development grow? And they just kind of turned their head that they want to go north with the pipe. You know too much. You got to get out of here. I didn't know about the meteor impact, anything like that. So I get arrested for cyber stalking. For $500, I bond out. Three charges, $1,500 for Dave Newton, chief counselor of Mosaic at Greenberg Torg, the most powerful lawyers in the world. They get the Bush recount. They tell everyone what to do. Giuliani works, and they tell all presidents what to do. They're gorillas. Wow. And basically, they were the first Jewish law firm out of Miami in, I think, the 50s. They're powerhouses. And so we get rid of them. They have Sheriff G in Tampa arrest me. I find out in the day. A year later, and meanwhile, money's missing out of our account. Wells Fargo steals $57,000 right out of our account. Nobody will help us. They don't want to go through credit. So we're getting attacked. And I'm watching, and I'm like, uh-oh. So I need to know how much water's down there, and I get a consultant who's cleared oil for 50 years around the world, grew up on a military base, Jim Murray, and Palm Beach, Ukraine, other officers. Everyone knows me. He's a consultant for the Fed. He puts robots for the Navy tanks, and an invention. He's like, how did you find me? Well, I did major projects in Palm Beach. The Opera Center, the Clematis Street. I worked for the biggest company in the world, James in the 90s, with Enron and everyone. So I knew they had soil and water issues. So I'm looking for the $800,000 camera to go down this way to see how much we got. Is it a cave or whatever? But if it shows up on April 2, 2013, they think I played a trick on them because, and I didn't, I swear, because April 2nd, 15, 13, bounced around, sites the peninsula, whatever. I didn't even know that till a year later watching Jeopardy. The farmer called me, but anyway, he stood us up and he goes, they were deleting emails off the screen in 10 hours and you were giving me the readings and whatever. He goes, it's an we've never seen water on the planet even close. And another meteor hit Canada and Viola jumped on it. And I go, what are you saying? He goes, you could be next to a tilted platform. But 3 days prior, some of the other Danes were more concerned, sending E&R magazine talking about water origins to the oceans beneath the earth, not the EPA adopted ice comet theory. A bunch of ice hidden. So anyway, I'm like, when did we get access to oceans beneath the earth? So I write my hypothesis 12 days later, and I'm knocked out and all excited. And I just Google Herschel Vineyard, who was the Secretary of Department of Protection, FDUD for Florida. And he's jogging in Tallahassee called the Leon County Torch Run, where they jog with handicapped people for the Olympics. And I'm just teasing around, look at they're helping handicapped people, but they're stocking kids with centers because when you take a shower, you soak a liter of water, and it's in your cooking, it's a level of service. The 5 hours later, I didn't even know. The Boston Marathon bros, I'm getting calls from attorneys that head to the Secret Service, and they're like, tell them to come over and give them the big secret. I didn't even know the Boston thing went off. My neighbor told me. And called Sarasota Utilities. And let's call utilities. I was just so excited still because I found something unique, and I can bring it to the top. And not less people be sick in the housing boom, things like that. And it could be everywhere around the world. And he called Sarasota, and I go, you're a terrorist, Joe? And I go, what is wrong with Sarasota? And with that, it blew up some kid in the jogger down. So my heart dropped. I thought they blew some kid up because my email maybe they're good. So what happened is Judge Dominguez in Tampa raises my cyber stocking bond from $500 to $300,000. And then he accuses himself and says, they runs off and we bring in Judge Conrad. So I just up the street and put in the hole for like 60 days. And I finally get to my family, no one knows where I'm at. And my dad says, hey, you keep trying to break in the house. You want me to take the discs that show the tilted platform and stuff from the impact, the KT event. And I go, yeah, and next thing I know, 3 days later, he's in the house dead for 3 days. He has diabetes, I don't know. So they reduced my bond to $30,000, and that was round one, and then I find out about the Smith-Mundt Act. Mod was passed through Obama and Congress, HR 736, was fired right when I turned in the permit in May 2012 for Southwest Florida Water Management. So they enacted it. The Smith-Mundt Act came out in 1978 when he did the state of Israel.
1 second, Gil. Yeah. Christine. Christine, can you put... Can you put his the phone closer to the laptop?
And pocketing everyone while they're running around scared. That's what they're doing. They're making everybody's focus over here.
Can you put the phone closer to the laptop so we can hear it better?
So they did it again with. I turned in a DEP app. Went to the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas building in Tallahassee. 17 days later, they were rehearsing. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Broward, I'm get shot exactly 17 get wounded, exactly 17 die. I got on the agenda at the school board 30 days later, up in the million each, talked about violent video games. They all ran off. They manufactured AR-15 reloads supposedly from me to the public defender that ran off in the Boston case. Someone shoots up a building in Broward right after Cold Star and puts it on my cousin. He's freaking out. He gets PTI. He has Judge Fine, who's the judge for Scott Peterson. These ops between sheriffs in Florida and Boston because of the cell phones, the internet. And it's again because they want control of the peninsula. And what I'm told is that's why the stock market's at 40,000. That's why the debt is 40 trillion because they bought all the time they could. Because if you control the number one resource on the planet, and the ports from Tampa to Miami and all the trade, I can beat NAFTA, the Panama Canal. That's why BlackRock's buying Panama Canal. We're trying to buy up the trade line because once the primary water cycle opens, everything's moved to feet. All the trade lines change. The monetary fund can collapse. Water is money. Rivers, rivals, water liquidity, banks, river banks. I mean, come on, man. It's always been. Well, I can't serve two masters. I can't take the money. I'm an engineer. I can't choose a different medicine in the operating room if I'm a heart surgeon and the heart's open. Pump the cleaner water. It's a higher level of service. The water bills go down. So they don't want it to happen. And all they got out of it all was I found another one in New Jersey. It's a buried volcano at Washington Rock. Met with Eric Adams in City Hall and moved all these guys in the deeds. And I'm like, I'm 22 miles away. You spend $100 million a day on the aqueducts. I go, why did Building 7 go down? Maybe that's what they were trying to crush these doctors out of. Why don't you hook up the water? But I got Bush in Sarasota during 9/11. His dad was the head of the CIA, Smith-Mundt Act, and he buys officers in Paraguay, Blue Bush family. So I wrote Bush a letter and said, hey, I wasn't there, but why don't you help me out? You come to Sarasota every week and go to church, hang out with Bernie Buchanan. Why don't you open this thing up and help everyone? So what I did is I sued in every state, about 36 states. I'm not trying to win a lawsuit because they're deleting all my emails, deleting all my YouTubes, and I put where the locations are in the permits and the plan, and I tried to show everyone so they can find the rest and ways. Blue Girls Water Wars, 20,000 kids died there around the world with dehydration alone. I think we can, we're under the desert, under the military bases. You need water for power. So the Vatican and all them during the Cold War were punching oil wells, and they wanted to secure the best ones. I heard from good people at the Catholic Church that want to help. For some reason, everybody's scared, and you're not moving them. You're not moving buried volcanoes. You're not moving the fault lines in Southern California. If you Google a man who died in '85, he was a big explorer in California. They took him out to the Middle East. He found water. His name's Steve Rice. I found him like right before I got in this jail again by Judge Kadar for the last 16 months. I mean, he talked about primary water. It's coming from the core that steams into the crust in those oceans bigger than the surface oceans. The Earth's sweating, and we're in the second cycle. So you don't need rain for food and water. You can dig a hole, then the clouds come. So you can build food in the desert, and there could be world peace. And I told the city of Naples that, and all of a sudden they sort of got more. It's the Central Command, the head of the Middle East. They have all their little dinners and watch the sunset in Sarasota just south of it. And it's a gang, and they're scared too. So they needed someone to unravel it.
Can he hear me? I want to ask him a question.
I'm in the trial, I'm the VOP. All I did is
can you put him up to the phone? I want to ask him something.
They didn't know I had 3 more wells.
Actually, we don't. All we need is Christine to say.
Hang on, they're gonna ask you something.
Hey, yeah. I want to ask you something because you mentioned something interesting. This is. Can you hear me?
Hang on.
Here. Let's do this. Christine, can you just ask what Top is going to ask?
Yeah.
Ask for me. Okay, so he mentioned.
Hold on.
He mentioned something very interesting about the waters being under the ground. Does he think that this has anything to do with, like possibly the flood of Noah? Has that ever came to your mind? Because the water.
Do you think this has to do with the flood of Noah at all?
I think the only metaphor I see with that is he saved 8 souls. If you have water knowledge, it saves millions of children. Why not open it so you're flooding the earth with the information in an information society? Could be the only metaphor I can find on it.
No, I mean,
the meteor hit, it flooded the earth for sure.
Yeah.
So you know, I have to kind of an out there question, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know he can't hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna do this, Christine. Why don't you
hang on,
Christine? All right, let's have you take the rest of that conversation. You can mute your mic because the audio is very difficult to hear. We allowed it to play because I think it's really important for him to try to, especially, you know, he's calling in the middle of the show, and I think it's important for his message and for the audience. But while you talk to him, let's let Matt pick up where you left off, and we'll try to tell the rest of this story, okay? And then you come back on whenever you're ready. Just give us the wave.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Christine. Man, guys, for the audio listeners, you know, I know you suffered through that, but the man called, and it's important for him to get his story out. He only has so much time, and so we thought that it was the right thing to do to allow him to try to say as much as I heard a lot of what he said, but I missed a lot of it.
Yeah, if we could have had like a better, like if he called my phone, I'd connect him to the roadcaster and he'd be in the conversation, but we had some technical issues with Christine and how to connect stuff, but
yeah, we're limited
here. The
I
question
gotta
I was
get
asking him,
better gear.
I was asking him something, and I guess he's not thinking about it because he's more. I mean, he's in a freaking legal battle with like
he's in jail.
Yeah, but that idea of this, like the water that is underground. You're familiar because you watch a show, Matt, but the
Mm.
flood, they said it was like there's no way that it could just be rain. It was
Okay,
coming.
so I'm gonna. All right, I know where you're going with this, and I'm gonna blow your mind because everything with this is so synchronistic. Has anyone seen the slow motion, or I'm sorry, the time lapsed videos of Texas floods recently? Because I saw one that
Oh,
literally
it's insane.
showed the rivers bubbling up and then
Yeah.
just coming. I didn't.
Mhm.
There wasn't rainfall. There wasn't like a typhoon. Nothing came. It came up and just started going, and within 12 hours of that, I saw a video of a Tibetan music bowl. It was a much bigger one. As soon as they started playing it, they had water in it. The water just starts coming almost up out of it. Looked
I've
exactly
seen
like
that.
what
Yeah, I
I
know what you're
saw
talking about.
down in Texas. So yeah, if that water's below us, and it very easily could rise. Like I work in a steel shear shop. We have a plasma burn table. You
Yeah.
can burn it. It's we sit the metal on a giant tub. It has water in it, but then the water rises when you need it to. So it's not a foreign concept.
Yeah, you have
Absolutely.
it's a plasma torch, right? So as soon as it starts blowing a hole through the material, the water immediately starts rising
Mhm.
up, and if you have
Cools
it
it
set
off.
to the right level, it'll start to actually submerge ever so slightly the
Y-
steel plate that's on it.
Correct. And that's kind of the same concept. What if this water down below this, it's everywhere, fellas.
Yeah.
It's
Well, that's
not
my
it's
thinking
not
is
just
like
sitting in Florida. I'm gonna tell you something real quick. I was listening to Cult of Conspiracy, and they did a show on the Malibu anomaly off the coast of Malibu.
not familiar with it.
You're not familiar with that? Okay, so this was big in the
Oh, is this
conspiracy.
where this
It's
this
like this
large
little,
craft goes underneath
yeah.
the
Well,
landmass of
it's
Malibu?
it's a no, it's off the coast of Malibu, and it's a structure that has pillars underneath it. And a
Yes.
lot of people, while I was listening to Cult of Conspiracy theorize on the subject, they played a video, and in the video, the AI voice reading the script said some people think it has tunnels that to um, tunnels filled with water that run the length of the continent,
Yeah, I'm
and
actually going to
and
bring that
and
up.
and the Black Ops submarines use it to sneak back and forth. So of course, if
Okay.
we have that many tunnels and that vast of an ocean underneath the continent that they're already using to hide themselves and cloak themselves in stealth, you don't need stealth technology at that point. You just need something that can go that deep.
Yeah, I
Of
want to
course, they
share
don't
this.
want us
Top,
to
can
know
you
about
bring
that
this up
water.
on the screen? And Christine's ready to be unmuted. Let's unmute
Okay.
her. It's from my side. So what we have here is this object. It's like on the ocean floor. It looks like it's a plateau or a platform held up by pillars. And this is right off the coast of Malibu, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and this is what they're speculating as to where the flow of water would be coming from.
Not just that leads to more water tunnels that go underneath the continent, and that the government uses it to hide their submarines
Right.
and travel back and forth. So if there really is black ops going on like that, and they're the ones using the water, of course they don't want us pumping it out. They don't want us to know that it's down there.
That's so what I
It's just
picked
a
up
theory of
from
mine, but
this is what I picked up from Joe when he was talking. It sounded like he was saying that there is this massive rights battle, a legal battle, trying to gain access to, I guess, whatever properties would have this sort of water, water's flowing beneath it. And he said a lot there. It was kind of hard to unpack. He's talking about the Smith-Mundt Act and things of that nature. I just want to turn it over to Christine quickly because we haven't gotten to talk to her since she hung up with Joe. Wild moment there, Christine, that he was able to actually call in the middle of the show. I'm sure he didn't know that when he was calling you, he was going to be on a podcast.
No, he was excited. He wanted to share everything, but
I
he
personally
couldn't
have so
hear.
much to say to that man. I can't wait to get him out of jail and talk to him.
I wish we could have gotten a clearer version. It was really hard to hear, which is why we put an end to it. I know I saw somebody in the chat say, 5 or 6 words out of 10 were understandable, and so it was kind of creating a bit of a broken story. I'm hoping that we can put the pieces together. But did he say anything to you, Christine? That is that's you think is important here?
He just basically said about the DEP email and the Smith-Mundt Act, and he wanted you to understand that they're related. And the Marjory Stoneman Douglas, that was also a DEP application to the state of revolving funds, and it went to the Marjory Stoneman Douglas building in Tallahassee, Florida, and then 17 days later, 17 kids get at the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. That was interesting enough that they had beforehand a practice, which is really weird to have a days before and then an actual happens at the school.
Let me pause you right there, Christine. That's not weird,
dude.
Well, that's not weird at all. That happens all the damn time, dude. They always do these. There was a NORAD during 9/11 where a bunch of anomalies were going to pop up on the radar, and the operators at NORAD were told to ignore any anomalies seen on the flight radars. And then, of course, some anomalies pop up. Next thing you know, they're ignoring them and they're flying into the towers. The same thing happens in London for the July 7th subway. They are running that day where the is in a subway, right? So there's plenty of instances like that. And yeah, so I mean, it's strange to normal people who just want to live normal lives. But if you look into it, yeah, these things happen more often than people would be comfortable with.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
And he also mentioned about his, my dog just jumped up on the bed. So real quick,
there he is. He's a Mastiff?
He's a Cane Corso.
Oh, beautiful dog. Good boy.
He's not impressed with us.
Not impressed with us, yeah.
He wants to know why he doesn't get a nap right now.
So tell him we apologize for encroaching on his nap time. So you were saying that the 17 kids get 17 days after?
Yes. So 17 kids after my husband puts in that application to get funding for the pipeline. And it was just another, Smith-Mundt Act. And my husband wanted me to mention about his bond, how he was held after the Boston in Tampa, and they basically had 3 charges on him from those attorneys. That was $500 a piece, and they ended up raising his bond to $500,000. So, or $300,000.
$300,000. So even at a 10%, that's $30,000.
And the judge recused himself. So it was a definite setup. And then they tried to pull our public defender, who we were getting ready for trial, and they pulled him from our case, and they thought we would postpone the trial. And my husband said, no, I'm ready to go. I didn't do anything wrong. I never threatened anybody. So we ended up taking it to trial, and none of those 3 attorneys showed up. So they dropped the charges. But this was after, they had already tortured my husband and done all these things and tried to make him look like a terrorist. And, and his father was found dead in his home. So that was just the start of our journey after we found the water. And now it's been ongoing, multiple arrests, multiple charges, fake charges. Even his cousin, he tried to mention that in the quick conversation his cousin was arrested for supposedly up a security building. And his cousin's never owned a gun in his life. And it was just a setup to put my husband away. They were, probably going to pull in his cousin's case and try to make it look like we're a very violent Italian family, I guess. And my husband called them all out. He intervened in his cousin's case, and they ended up dropping it and trying to hide it. So they gave his cousin like PTI, and you can't even find the case online anymore, but we have screenshots of everything. So it's not going anywhere.
So this is as far as I can tell, the picture that you're painting here is a struggle for what may be the most valuable resource that any sort of government can get their hands on, right? If you can control this level of water, I mean, I heard Joe saying things like this.
It seems like though, it seems like you're not just under attack from the government. It seems like there's like a public-private collusion going on, because you've mentioned a number of companies that are private companies. So am I correct there?
Yeah. I was just mentioning the other day how BlackRock teamed up with Nestle and Bill Gates. So they're trying to buy all the remaining water around. So it's definitely pursued. They're trying to, I mean, since we found it, I would say they tried to keep it hidden by subduing my husband the whole time. So, and I believe this water resource was labeled on the USGS maps as Big Mama. So the government has known about it, but we're not allowed to know about it.
What did they had prior knowledge to your discovery?
Yes. I think they've kept it hidden.
Yeah,
so
it
wasn't
just wanna
meant
say this
for
real
us.
quick. She mentioned Bill Gates and BlackRock, everybody buying up all the water as much as they can. They're not going to bother trying to get the rights to this well. They're going to cap it off and not tell anyone about it ever. I'm involved with a bunch of different podcasts, group chat, and these guys, when they find stuff, because I've been talking to anyone and everyone about this story since the day I found it, trying to get on shows to get everyone to hear about this. That's how important I think it is. They sent me, one of the buddies in my group chat sent me some stuff he came across in Indiana. A lady on TikTok was doing research and came across all these old mineral springs and like retreats you could go to, like these beautiful buildings back in the 1800s where it had like you could come and access this wonderful mineral healing water. Well, none of them exist anymore. They all got capped off, and the lady doing the research has found nothing on the reason why they're no longer in use. So they don't want us to even have this water. They're not going to bother tapping into it for themselves either.
Yeah, they made us cap the well immediately. So as soon as because it was flowing artesian when we,
Artesian, what is that?
Like
all by itself.
All by itself. Like
no
it
pump.
Was just bubbling up out of the ground and flowing. And they told us we had to cap it or we were going to be fined. So daily, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So we capped it, but we still have access. We go and fill up our water jugs every 6 months. And so once my husband is released, we're gonna get it piped to everybody. So
now what are the benefits of this water that you've seen? I was going to ask if you had any samples, what have you found out about it?
Well, the pH, so from what I understand.
Wait, is this top? What did we get popped for on YouTube? Was it
structured water?
No, dude, it wasn't. It was not. That was not the word. It wasn't structured. It was.
Did I say the J word?
No. It was potential. It was the potential. We'll have to censor this. We'll have to take it down, re-upload it
at all. But what did Rife say? Because we have.
Dude, it was alkaline water.
Okay, our sponsor, Matt Rife was his uncle, great uncle Royal Raymond Rife created the Rife machine alongside of Nikola Tesla. So he's now continuing his work, and he's like, but I'm looking into water, and he started just briefly mentioned water.
No. We didn't even. Thank you, we didn't even. He didn't even mention it. This wasn't even his fault.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
We just said, is there? Do you think there's any benefits? And he goes, well, just shit. There might be.
Yeah. Here's the thing,
and YouTube took our whole shit.
We say a lot of crazy shit on this show, like a lot. I mean, not just crazy things, but off-color language. You name it, we've said it. But YouTube was like, not that.
Okay, so I Christina, I think what he was getting at is like when you go and fill up all that water and you're drinking it constantly. How do you feel any benefits? How does it? Do you feel more hydrated? You can go get some right now from Sarasota. She'll
Yes.
give you the farmer has a video on YouTube saying, "Come drink my water. I want everyone to have it." You can go knock on that man's door and
you need a
ask him where's
4-wheel
that.
drive to get to it.
Yeah, it's in the middle of a field.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting.
But I think when we drink it, it's very, I want to say, creamy.
I think I know what you mean.
I feel like it's going to be
smooth.
for state if we actually take a good look at this water.
But as far as it gives you, there's no doubt. I feel very lucky that my kids have it because, knock on wood, they haven't been with all the stress we have going on. You would think, our family would be a lot, and they're not. So, and they are a lot like their father. They work out and they ride their bikes on the beach, and they, but they drink a lot of the water. So we go through a 5-gallon jug like every 3 days. So.
Okay.
And this is in Sarasota. You know what I'm wondering, Top, and this isn't something that necessarily we're going to be able to come to a conclusion on right now. But we've hooked up with a documentarian recently. I'm wondering if maybe there's something to do here. I don't know. What do you think, Top?
I've reached out to Hibbler already. If that's what you're talking about, Hibbler knocked this out the freaking park.
No, we're not working with Hibbler.
Okay.
It's somebody else. But
there needs to be a documentary on this. That's how I don't know any. I don't know whose attention to get for this. I'm telling you,
because that's what there's so many moving parts here, and it's such a big story.
Has there been anyone to do this or?
No, I'm the only asshole on the internet screaming about it, and I'm a nobody.
Interesting.
When I found this story, guys, I was researching. I'm gonna say it: water, all the machines.
Yeah.
And I was, typing into Google all sorts of stuff. I was getting stuff on Instagram, like different companies who sell these machines for like thousands of dollars. And then out of nowhere, sitting in the parking lot of my kids' practice, I was just scrolling through Instagram. I see one of Joe's posts, and of course I'm like, oh, water, healthy water, natural healthy water, great. Let me check this out. And I just kept scrolling. I watched video after video. I'm like, wait, this guy's got access to amazing water, and he's getting stopped everywhere he goes. And then I was like, well, I know podcasters. I talk to people, and this was a year ago. I barely knew any podcasters back then. I said, I'm gonna get this guy on a show. So I called the phone number on his Instagram, and I got Christine. I asked for Joe, told her I was calling about the water, and I was highly interested in learning more and helping out whatever way I could. And instead of saying, okay, let me go get Joe for you, I heard tears in her voice. I heard that somber tickle in her throat. She didn't want to say the words she was about to say, but she spoke them. I'm sorry, but my husband's just been arrested 2 days ago.
Wow.
Jeez.
Guys, I asked emotional. Months
I
before.
unloaded on Matthew.
Yeah, I asked God for a purpose, something in my life other than just being a father in my family. There's a mark on this world I wanted to leave somehow. And fucking A, guys, they put this in my lap. And it's been a journey for me ever since. And I'm sorry to get emotional, but it's literally
No. It's fine.
It's changed my life too. Quite a bit. Yeah. People in my life had to leave for me to get the story out there. To a degree, yeah. I was in a kind of a shitty relationship, and every time I reached out to Christine to get her on a show or something, my ex gave me a hell for it.
Really? Why? What was
she was half Mexican and Puerto Rican.
Never mind. I don't have to. Never mind.
No, we were just bad relationship, trust issues, all that. But even as I explained it, like, I'm in the conspiracy. I've had a love for podcasting for a while, and I honestly think I could help this woman and her husband, and this could be a huge story that the whole fucking world needs to hear. And she railroaded me every single time. Well, fast forward, rewind. I completely stopped contacting Christine, and I felt like I had betrayed her, myself, and God, because I knew this water was important. Fast forward to May, April of this year, my ex left me, took our child, and moved to none other than Florida.
Oh my God.
None other than Merritt Island, right outside of NASA. And that's a whole nother conspiracy for me there, because the people she was staying with works at NASA.
Wow.
So yeah, this whole story's got me very emotional. Things have gotten better since then, but ever since my ex left, that's the day I called Christine back and said, Christine, are you ready to get this story to the world? And I promised her I would get her on NDS, easily one of the biggest shows I might have access to, by bugging the shit out of you guys on your Patreon and X and on TLC, and when every time you guys go live. And finally here we are. But that's just a little part of the story.
Well, I mean, I'm looking into this as you're talking, Matt, and it's like, you know, there's this idea that exists in St. Augustine, but it also supposedly was in an island called Bimini, which is north of Cuba. But there is the warm mineral springs in Sarasota that they call the as well.
Yeah, you haven't spoken to Dr. Narcolongo yet about this.
I've reached out to him. I haven't gotten a response.
Okay, yeah,
I
crazy.
trust me, he was one of the first people, other than NDS and Tinfoil Hat, the people who I wanted to talk to actually like really expand this subject and see really what are we dealing with, because I believe it's 100% biblical. I can never fucking get his name right.
Longo. He's not a doctor.
He's not a doctor. Mr. Longo, though, I definitely wanted to get this information to him and see what he thought about it. Now, here's the thing, and this might upset some of you who are flat earthers. Joe does think this water bubbled up to the surface from a meteor impact that happened right outside of right outside of the state of Florida, right in the ocean.
The Gulf.
And
the Gulf.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When like an old meteor attack or an old meteor crash, or
Yucatan meteor.
And so that would be around when that happened.
Yucatan.
You got to look it up. I'm sorry, that's slipping me.
I'm because right now what I'm doing is I'm looking at
hundreds of thousands of years ago. I don't think millions, but you know that you can look at it through both lenses, round, flat, whatever. To me, on the biblical stance, if you look at it at the flat earth side of it, that water is literally it's the waters above and the waters below.
Right,
you guys think the waters below is the ocean and the rivers and all of that. It's not. There is an ocean below everything.
Well, that's what. So the footage that you guys or Christine, that you had your hands on, it's number one, sounds sensitive, and number two, the language that was used to describe the body of water was oceans. How? I mean, we're prone to hyperbole in moments of amazement. How serious do you think that is? What are we talking about here? When we're saying oceans, is this just like a shit ton of water, or is the descriptive meaning a body of water with indiscernible size?
Endless. That's what they explained to us. I mean, we went through miles of like lime rock, and it was just flowing, and he basically said it's an ocean, so it's endless. It could service definitely all of Florida, and that's what I know as far as.
She's referring to the guy who came out with the rig and put the camera. He recorded it, gave them the copies, and said pretty much, "Don't contact me anymore."
Right.
He knew what
we brought him to court one time to help on my husband's behalf, because they were mocking the water and trying to make my husband sound crazy. And it was during COVID and everything, and he came down with COVID right before, the trial, but he submitted a letter, so that was sufficient enough. So it was he's still out there and chimes in from time to time, but I would love to get him on.
But he mostly doesn't he doesn't want to be.
I don't think so. He said this is major and it's life-changing is what he told me.
Do you think it's something that he's come across before, or at least something he's seemed to have thought about?
Similar. he said in Canada, I think he discovered something very similar. Viola took it.
Man, this seems dangerous. This entire topic,
but it's important. I mean, that's those things are synonymous.
I mean, look at all the examples we have of filthy drinking water that people are being forced to drink.
Yeah, Flint, Michigan, right, where you can light your water on fire.
You know, I'm in Cleveland, the Cleveland, Ohio area. I'm about 45 minutes south in the Akron area, but you know, the Cuyahoga River runs from Lake Erie all the way through Cleveland, all the way down to Akron. And what's it known for? Catching on fire.
Yeah.
And best believe they're probably pulling off of that and using that water in our tap and cleaning it. So
we talk about on this show a lot about, you know, just the idea of like fluoride in the drinking water or low levels of what would you call them? SSRIs, right? To trace elements of pharmaceuticals in your waters. I would imagine that if you can control the water, not only can you control your sort of the status quo on that, right? But you can also slowly poison an entire people and keep them in whatever state you'd like to keep them in, whether that's recurring cases of or neurological disorders, you name it. You can do it all through controlling the water supply. So that would be one very obvious reason why they wouldn't want this to get out, because that's an uncontrolled. I mean, when you're talking about an ocean of water,
and that's below the ground.
That's below the ground. So
which
then
I don't understand the reservoirs as our water supply. They're open to the air, which I just don't.
Well,
easily...
what would you call it? Supply and demand, right? Scarcity increases the value of a thing.
Yes.
So that's a pretty straightforward one. But if it really is that vast, then for at least miles around this property, you could and tap into this.
Yeah, and I don't think this water's ever. I'm gonna sound crazy. I think it's water. It's sorry. It's
all right. We're far beyond that point.
Yeah,
Matt. It's all right.
And it's, which we all know, can't live in a clean environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's full of minerals, and it's free of. People are going to thrive from drinking this, and the way Christine described it as being almost milky, its viscosity is a lot thicker than your tap water. Almost reminds me of like the water, if you have well water and you have salt.
That's why I knew what she was talking about, because I used to have
it can be kind of like that, but imagine that, but it's pure. I said earlier, we've come to a singularity point with water. I think there's so many different theories about water all rising to the surface right now, pun intended. And with the description of that, I honestly feel like it's also 4-stage water. So this water isn't just going to hydrate you better. It's literally going to adhere to your better. All right. Just imagine that. What would you think water would do to you? You know,
right.
Most waters you drink, it's right out, because it's just it pulls all the nutrients out of you more than hydrates you at this point. And what does everyone say? Drink more water, drink more water. But the waters we're drinking, it's absolute shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what we got to do, but we got to get Joe out of jail. So.
Yes.
I love how these people flirt with this idea as well. Like one of the newest King Kong movies. I don't even remember which one. I love these movies because they're such nonsense. But he's
they're fun.
Right, they're fun. But he's like underground. His lair is in inner Earth.
Yeah, inner Earth.
Yeah, they're trying to tell you it's a big, wide open, vast area where you can move around. It's filled with fucking water. Sorry, guys. King Kong's not living below your feet. Water is. Precious water is right underneath our feet. That's the closest to inner Earth you're gonna get.
What is your course of action? What does your next move look like? I mean, you guys, I know awareness is a huge one, right? And you're moving the wheels on that. That's my understanding. You're going to see Tripoli soon. Is that true?
No, I saw Tripoli a couple weeks ago in Cleveland and tried to get this story to him, but I kind of only got an email from him. Like, here's my email. Get back to me.
Yeah, so
I'm still
I
trying
can
to get
help a
on.
little bit. We can talk to the booker. I can't make any promises, but maybe I can
Absolutely. I just did
try
a
to.
show with Mark last night too.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that's probably step one. And then I would say if you got in Mark's ear, then there's a high likelihood that you'll move on to tinfoil hat. But so outside of spreading awareness, do you guys have any actionable plans?
Yeah, actually, Christina, let me run through this and you can explain it a little bit better because she knows the man personally. She's met him. Christine went to a Red Pill conference and met an ex-bar associated lawyer by the name of Billy McGowan out of Alabama, 70-year-old gentleman who got himself involved with I guess you can say grassroots movement called United Humanity, and this gentleman is writing declarations left and right. He's bringing back common law and God's law, and he's threatening every corrupt bastard, whether they sit on the high seat or the head sheriff, judges. He's making people step out of their offices, and if they don't, he's not threatening them with any jail time because that is against God's law. No man should be behind bars. What he is doing is taking every penny they have in their bank account. He's using this kind of tactic to get Joe out of jail. Billy has been trying tirelessly to find different tactics to get Joe out of jail because if you guys are familiar with Brandon Joe Williams, this gentleman Billy also knows basically the same concepts, the same knowledge. He's just been doing it a lot longer, and he actually was in law, so he quite honestly knows a lot more than Brandon Joe himself. And even with that amount of knowledge, he's still finding quite a hard time getting Joe out of jail. Like we said, Joe was already sentenced. He lost. I'm sorry, he lost his case. We're just waiting for him to be sentenced. So we're trying to get him out before that occurs.
So you guys don't know, you don't have a clue of how long they would know.
No, he should have been behind. His sentencing should have already been done. They are dragging it out.
No, I mean like his, not just his sentencing, but like how long they want to keep him there in jail.
Was it 50 years?
Yeah, they were threatening 50 years for habitual, and he's already been found not guilty of this charge, this lien fraud that went in front of his VOP, violation of probation, on a charge that he took a plea on out of duress because they were keeping him locked up with no bond while they're attempting to steal our property. So he was adamant about getting out and willing to take a plea if he wasn't facing more than probation. And then come to find out, our public defender, Katisha Smith in Tampa, she knew my husband was innocent and she still let him take a plea. And now I have that email that she got 5 days prior to my husband taking a plea, that she was aware that my husband never sent a threatening email to the alleged victim, and she didn't disclose it and let my husband take a plea because they're all together to subdue my husband. There's, I'm sure, some huge payout for them. I know in the easement that they bought, the county, there was a $5 million purchase. So that money, I'm sure, went to pay off these judges and everybody that's helping keep my husband where he's at. But Mr. McGowan is doing everything he can to, he sent out an email today to the judge that did the charge on him and basically said, you're facing against Mr. Gilberti's, and that's a violation of 18 USC 241, which is really life in prison. So he did a probable cause affidavit to Padar and gave her till 5 o'clock today to release my husband, which we're 3 minutes away from that. So I don't feel like that's going to happen because he's got, Trump, DeSantis, everybody is basically protecting I think they all know about the resource, and we're fighting a really nested group. And I'd like to think,
they all know.
Yeah.
Trump, everybody, even up to Trump, knows this man's name. Joe Gilberti has put their names in lawsuits all over the place. They know he's doing it. They know what's going on.
My husband and my son dropped off the permit plans at Mar-a-Lago. They had it signed by the Secret Service. A week later, Trump's Mar-a-Lago gets raided. So these are like coincidences, but guys, I don't know.
No, wait.
It's like this guy does a thing, and then a week later, a thing happens.
Every single time he does a thing and files papers or tries to get papers to the right people, something happens. That's why you can't. I know people are going. I already know what the community is thinking. Wow, this guy is far-fetched to think he's that fucking important that he thinks that his situation is linked to the Boston bomb. I already know what people are saying.
Well, it's not his situation. It's not him. It's what.
It's the
what
water.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's what he's been saying is the water resource. Quit thinking about me and who I am. Go out there and test it and prove that I'm wrong. So.
How would you even go about testing it? You'd have to get somebody to contract to dump all this money in to build another well that they're inevitably just going to say cap off. But this time you have to do it and try to bring some way to verify it before they tell you to cap it off.
Oh, we'll give them access to ours if they want to test it.
Well, I mean, okay. All right.
Yeah, all they have. See, Joe's already had the water tested.
Yeah.
But they're kind of denying his test results. So, okay, then let's watch you bring your scientists out, grab some water, test it, and then show us what's in it. They won't do that. They absolutely will not do it.
So and what exactly would they be denying? The pH level being as it is?
Yeah, and that there's no or anything in it, because they seem to say that everything in Florida has some sort of either.
So they would basically be saying, yeah, sure, there's a large body of water that you could tap into, but it's not. Or are they even contesting that there's a large body of water you can tap into?
That's the thing. They won't even acknowledge that there's water to test. They're ignoring Joe like he's a fly in the room that they can't swat at. If you understand that. So Joe's been trying to get any kind of official to come out, test the water, and deny that it's there and deny that this water is good. Because once they come out and test it, okay, now they've acknowledged that the water exists. And there's water down here. Now you know about it. Okay, now test it. The only thing they could do is test it and give us false results. Now the water's not that good, so we can't use it. Trust me, I thought about all this. But if they don't even bother to acknowledge Joe and say, okay, you have water that sure we'll test it, then there's nothing for them to do. It's plausible deniability.
An email today from the Department of Environmental Protection about reviewing my husband's permits, and that because my husband called and tried to get scheduled another meeting so we can, whether he's locked up or not, just go ahead and keep moving with the pipeline.
Because that's all he actually cares about.
Yep. He wants to get the water to the people. And if you're going to keep him locked up, he's going to still try to get it going.
So in other words, it would be nice to let me out of this cage and stop keeping me in the dark and the cold and hosing me down and things of that nature. But first and foremost, let's address this water situation.
Right.
Are you trying to, because it seems like you have like a logical step and set of conclusions here where if you can get that, if you can get this pipeline, then you're going to have access. Are you monetizing the well? Because if you have access to that kind of money, your legal battles will, that's really what you're lacking here, is that you're outclassed by a couple $1 billion.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to talk to somebody today. I heard Ron Moore on the tinfoil hat. On tinfoil hat with Sam Tripoli. I know you guys don't know who he is yet, but Mark's going to get him on the rounds. The guy's well connected. He got himself out of a terrible situation where the FBI took him down and took all of his money. And once he got out of jail, he got into She-Legit and the industry. And I reached out to him a couple weeks ago. He seemed interested. I have no idea how he's going to help me. But like I said, the synchronicities that keep happening to me, I asked God for a purpose. He put Christine and Joe's story in my lap, and I've been running with it ever since, and it has not failed me once yet. So as soon as I get off of this call with you guys, I'm headed to Harrisburg, PA, to something called Sheila Jam, some music festival that I'm probably way too fucking old to go to, but Ron Morit is throwing it, and Michael Wan, who I talked to just a few days ago also, he's staying with Ron Morit, which I had no idea. Yeah, it's been synchronicity after synchronicity. And after we got to the end of our conversation with me and Michael Wan, he invited me to this Sheila Jam. And I was like, that's Ron Morit's Sheila Jam, right? He's like, yeah, I'm staying with Ron. I'm in his house right now. You should come out. We'll get you a free ticket. I got to do a little work for him to pay it off, but it's all good. So I'm looking for anyone and everyone who can help us out. We can't let Joe sit behind bars, for one, and for two, it's Joe's plan. If
there's anything we could do to pack the courtroom on his sentencing day, that's my goal, is because people are too busy on their phones. They, always say they have good intentions, they want to help, but then they never do. And that's where it breaks my heart, because I feel like a failure.
What day is that?
August 14th.
August 14th, right around the corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
August 14th.
Oh, Christine also, I guess.
And where is it?
Where is it in
Sarasota? So it's at the Sarasota courthouse. Judge Padar. It's at 1:30.
Courthouse. And hold on, wait a second. Court and 1:30, and Judge Padar.
Yes, Padar.
Padar. Okay, interesting. Okay, all right.
We're also trying to get as many people as possible to write in recommendation letters. Christine sent me some info on that.
And where would those recommendation letters go? Can they be emails or they have to be handwritten letters? Okay.
They have to be by, a person and signed, and they're supposed to be emailed to my attorney so he can present them at the pre-sentencing, because they have a conference coming up on August 1st that, of course, we're not invited to, but it's the state and our attorney.
And what email would that be?
Gilberti, Gilberti -4 at hotmail.com.
At hotmail.com. And that's where the letters of recommendations go.
Yeah, just saying,
like if you're in support of drinking spring water to the tap. Sorry.
Yeah. No. It's just funny because it's such a benign thing.
Well, here's the thing too,
if you're in support of good water.
Yeah, the water that they're giving us on the shelves, it's fucking not. It's sitting in plastic bottles. It's lost its as soon as they put it in that plastic and set it on that shelf.
Interesting.
So how do you preserve it? Like if you have it in a jug, something like that?
It's got to be glass, and I'm assuming you kind of got to keep it in like a cool, low lit place. But imagine if it was pumped directly to your sink.
Would be nice.
That'd be nice. It'd be real nice. I pay way too much water, or way too much money from water in the big 5-gallon jugs that are also made of plastic, so that I don't have to drink the sink water.
It's better than the thin plastic bottles. The thick plastic, I hear, is a little
bit less. It seeps in less. Man. Okay. So I would like to, and I don't know if there's, if we're at the hour and 41-minute mark, I'd like to keep a correspondence after the show. I don't know how much. I'm just some idiot in a chair, who happens to also be in Florida, but I'd like to help however I can. I hope that this reaches a lot of people, but we have some things that we kind of kick around the idea of doing, Top and I, as far as documentaries and such. Maybe I'm sure you want better than us, but maybe we're the idiots for the job. There's something to be done here, and I would like to help however we can. I don't know what that looks like.
I'm throwing my hands up because that's, yeah, like I said, I messaged Hibbler even trying to get his attention. I've been thinking about it for about a good month now. If it came to me, I'm like,
we'll get tossed in a tiny cage.
That's the thing. It's like
No.
Like oftentimes with these stories, for some reason or other, like some just don't take off, and it's hard. And when you're at like as far as like the social media thing goes, if you're at like the bottom level, it's hard to even get heard from anybody.
Oh yeah.
Because I've been there, David's been there. I mean,
yeah.
The reason we started this show is like completely ran. David sent me a video of him. He's like, "Hey, watch me do a podcast," and I had a larger profile than him, and I had the inclination to not do that because it's just like that's just what most people do. But I was like, let me watch it, and I watched it. I was like, all right, let's do this, and then you move on. But yeah, you guys need a little boost, boost here and there, a smart boost. So
I've been Cult of Conspiracy gave us an episode and was pretty moved by everything. They even said this is probably one of the biggest conspiracies they've had on their show after 500 shows. That's fucking saying something to me. Not to mention Miss Deplorable Nation, Deplorable Janet had us on. She was gracious enough. White Rabbit, Catalyst Jones, and I found myself being invited without even having my own podcast yet to a group chat full of podcasters who have given me so many resources too, and help along the way that I have to thank all you fellas. If you're watching, thank you so much. It's been quite a journey, and I have a feeling it's just getting started.
Yeah, well, I think that, I don't know about the logistics, the legalese, anything like that, but I know that if you can hit a critical mass of people that are aware of your story, it becomes a lot more difficult for these people to contain it. And they'll do everything they can as far as monetarily. They'll drain you of resources. They'll put you in a cage and all that. But the last thing they want is hundreds, thousands and hundreds of thousands of people being aware of your story. It's the awareness ultimately, I think, that can turn the tides. And I'm sure there's something else to be done here. But what we do is
let's figure out a fun way to package this into what you need is it's sad. You need good media. You got to have shorts.
Media,
You've got to have good quality video and audio, whatever you're doing this stuff. And but if you can get this in front of somebody like Ian Carroll, that is the guy.
Come on.
Yeah,
that's.
I was hoping more for somebody like Greg Carlwood and Sam.
Well, he's got a nice mustache.
Greg Carlwood has 40,000 followers on YouTube, and he doesn't have on Twitter. Ian Carroll has over 1 million, and what he does is he packages information, digests it well, and then redistributes it in a way that other people want to see. So no matter how you feel about him, that's one of the people that you want talking about this stuff. You know what I mean? And there's a way to get it in front of their eyes.
We
just got to be smart.
AI research, and we typed in my husband's name, and it generated a beautiful display of everything.
Really?
And I will send that to Matthew, and he can forward it to you. It's incredible. So AI.
Would you have us out to the property?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think we can try to do something here. I don't know how successful it can be, but no harm in trying, right?
No.
It would be amazing.
Well,
good.
Listen,
God,
guys.
thank you.
No, thank you. This is, honestly, we should all be thanking Joe. The man has sacrificed a tremendous amount. Seems to be less concerned with himself and more concerned with getting this water out to people who need it. I heard him through the bit of audio issues say that the amount of people and that die of dehydration and who knows even what level of our own disease comes from our drinking water. And to be able to flip the switch on that, I could see why the powers that be wouldn't want that sort of information getting out, and why they're not doing anything to disperse it either. I'm sure, if they had it their way, they'd get into World War III, wipe the slate clean, and then tap into it for their own purposes, some shit like that. So, I'd thank you, Christine, and thank you, Matt, but especially thank you, Joe. It's it's a shame he's not going to get that thank you. He's on the inside
you can
of a
see
cage,
why
but...
I saw the fight in that dog the moment I found his Instagram, and I knew I had to get behind him.
Yeah. I mean, look,
all the sacrifices he's made.
Just hearing him jump at the opportunity to tell the story the way that he did.
And he apologized for speaking fast.
No, nothing to apologize.
This probably has a prison guard next to him. It's like you have 5 minutes, you know?
With a little hat.
I get it. I mean, it's such a shame because like I'm looking through the Instagram now. It just needs like you need somebody managing it and doing like there's so many different tricks that people use to get in front of eyes, and it's unfortunate, but it's just how this shit works.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. Every video is Christine on a phone with Joe and recording him saying it while recording what she's showing you on the phone. Unfortunately, Christine, we saw her tech issues earlier. And I'll be honest, I'm trying to break into podcasting myself, and I suck at this. So
I was going to say, Christine's not much worse off than I am. If it wasn't for Top, I would be making content for nobody, because he's right. It's like the way you present this thing is as important as the information.
This is the most stunning example of it, right? It's like, this is fucking like really good water that's being hidden from you, but you know what? People don't even care. You've got to package it in a way where they could. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the truth. If it's not like, pretty girls or like done like at really high quality, people ignore, and you're like, you're going to ignore this?
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Well, my husband wanted to hold a concert there and have, music and a bunch of Hooter girls and all sorts of the stuff, trying to get it. Yeah. I mean, whatever would work to get
whatever it takes.
Yeah. So I don't, if there's anybody you guys know, if we can, I'm telling you right now, I'm already reached out to a dozen other podcasts. I'm waiting on responses, or just trying to get people interested in it. You know how hard it is to type in something that's absolutely got your soul on fire and to express that through an email. I swear, short amount of time to get someone's attention and tell them enough of the story to get their attention. It's very hard.
You got 7 seconds, dude.
I'm telling you. And I probably lost a few on how I presented it at first. But like I said, I've gotten a few people to go, all right, this sounds pretty cool. We'll give you a chance. And then when we get on there, they're just like, what?
Yeah.
Look,
can you bring this up Top that I just pulled on the thing? This is such a shame. This is such a shame. This is the Saratoga water that we get. This is the Saratoga water that goes viral. For you, Matt, and for you, Christine, if you don't know, this giant black dude and these bottles of Saratoga were going unbelievably viral about a month or two ago.
Do you know about that? You guys have to know about that. No,
isn't that weird?
Putting bananas on his face, and he's jumping into water. It's the craziest shit. Then he takes this water, he puts it in a big jug of ice or like a bowl of ice and puts his face in it. Millions of he does nothing. He doesn't even talk.
No, and you know what happens? Saratoga's stock probably skyrockets because of those goofy ass videos. To me, I almost feel like
it did.
What?
Walmart was selling. They like on their social medias. They're putting like bottles of Saratoga in the cart with bananas in a reference to this video but the video has everything you need. It catches you in the first 7 seconds, first 10 seconds, and then it's just scene switch. And he's doing things in a high quality that people want to see. That's just the truth, man. And we need to build something like that around this. Like, you've got to make them pay attention.
Yeah. Oh, you guys.
Man, that's super strange to me.
Work.
I think that's really odd that went viral to the degree
it is. You know what? When did that go viral? And what did what did Joe do 10 days before that? We need to figure that out.
Yeah. What did Joe do 10 days before that went viral?
This is probably an op. They're like, Joe's doing something else. Like, bring out the Saratoga guy.
Yeah, they got to make Saratoga water go viral, but not in the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah, so if there's anyone out there who's good with media and thinks this is a cause to get behind, reach out to me or Christine or even these guys, please. Just anybody in law. If there's by any chance, anybody who's getting into law down in Florida who's got pool or knows what to do. That's one of the issues we're having, is actually finding somebody who's allowed to work within the Florida law system, who's actually on Joe's side, because they've hired lawyers for Joe and they turn their backs on him.
Anyone with the Florida bar won't take this case.
It is that deep
So,
of corruption, and it's even down. Well, I'm going to tell you this.
What's the reasoning they give you?
I've been told that they're not going to be able to eat after this case. So, other people are just like, oh, this is too deep for me. Sarasota's a tight-knit group. I've been told so many different things, and plenty of not even follow-up calls once they see the depth of the case and how many times he's been arrested, and they're just,
And even the news is a part of this. The Sarasota local news, when Joe was, before Joe was behind bars, he took just cards to pass out to teachers and anybody who worked in the schools and parents at his son's school.
That was Fort Myers Beach. Yeah. That's where we live, and they tried to make us look crazy.
So the news in his own hometown came out and said there was basically a domestic terrorist running around scaring people to the point where they had to cancel the Christmas pageant that day. And they were interviewing people on the street, like, did you hear about this crazy guy? And they just go, oh, that's such a shame. They should keep people like that locked up.
He's unhinged.
They did that to us. I mean, they did that on a much smaller level to us in here, Leesburg, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote news articles about us. I'm sure you're familiar, Matt. And I'm like, now I'm actually having some second thoughts about pursuing a lawsuit against them because they violated the First Amendment. I mean, among other things. But it's one of those things where it's like a small town, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, how deep do I want to poke those people?
And how deep does this go? How deep does
that? Well, we already know how deep it goes. $2.4 million deep over 50 years. And it's like, there's crazy corruption, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sorry to bring something so deep to your doorstep, fellas, but this is the Nephilim Death Squad. If you guys really want to live up to your name, I'm bringing the fight to your doorstep.
It is what it is, man.
I'm sorry.
There's so much more I missed.
Podcasting has to be a little bit more than just talking about all the crazy shit in the world. I'm here today and starting my dumb little podcast, not so I can get famous and make money. It's to get stories like this out to the world. I'm here for change, not for change.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. I don't think this is over. I think there's a lot of things to be done here, and we'll pick this conversation up off the show sometime in the near future. But thank you guys for bringing this to our attention. And one more time before we wrap up, where can everybody go to support Joe and to learn more about what we discussed here today?
I'll go ahead, Christine. Christine doesn't have much socials, but her husband's website is gilbertibluegold.com to check out everything he's been posting and all the information on there. And any questions you guys have that we didn't get to today can probably be answered on that website. His Instagram, Christine posts videos of Joe calling from jail, giving updates constantly. Joe talks fast, and it is kind of hard to hear, but we're going to work on that with Christine. I don't know what we got to do to get calls from jail to come through clearly, but we got to figure something out. But Christine, if you want to tell them your Facebook, maybe they can reach out to you on that, or your email.
Yeah,
and this will be good, by the way, for anybody who thinks they can contribute, anybody who thinks they can help. If you want to spread the word, if you can offer some sort of resources,
make art, make memes, make clips, whatever you can, get it out there, guys, please. Where is it, I would have been doing it.
I'm at Christine Mullins Gilberti at Facebook, so they can find me there. And Gilberti-4@hotmail.com if they want to send anything or reach out, and I'll follow up with them. I don't answer the phone much because I've had some not so nice phone calls, so I tend to not answer unless I know who it is. So but anything, August 14th is the sentencing. So if we can get a group of people out there, that I would appreciate. Letters
and that's
can be emailed.
August 14th, Sarasota Court at 1:30 p.m. That's Judge Padar, Padar. And you also mentioned earlier the recommendation letters that goes to Gilberti-4@hotmail.com. And those are two really simple things that could help, especially writing those email recommendation lists.
Yeah, those have to be in by the end of next week. Okay. So it's not a lot of time.
Yeah. And synchronistically, August 14th is about the time when my daughter was supposed to come back home to me too. So yeah, I told you that this story just keeps meshing with my life synchronistically everywhere I turn and look. I'm at Awakened Lion on Instagram, Awakened Lion 29 on X. And if I can do a shameless small plug, sure. I've created a show, but I haven't recorded anything yet. And I plan on doing weekly updates with Christine. I'm too busy going on everyone else's show right now. I want to do weekly updates with Christine, telling us what's going on legality with Joe, what's being worked on behind the scenes, and how Joe's doing in jail, of course. And also get Billy McGowan on. He's going to blow your guys' mind if you ever get to check him out. And the show's called The Hometown Prophet. Like not profit for change, but PROPHET.
Okay, got it. Guys, also don't forget if there's any developments in the future, but Matt, you know how to get in touch with us. Just reach out and we'll run it back.
Yep.
Okay, I appreciate
Thank you, boys.
it.
Of course. Thank you guys. Top, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah, guys, I'm not going to sign off with what we usually do. This is really interesting. Thank you again, and we'll catch you soon. Bye.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
You can persuade them that what they see with their eyes is what there is